Hi everybody and welcome to another piano video here on the Merriam Pianos YouTube channel. Where are the pianos? Are they back ordered? Are they stalled in shipping? What is happening in 2022 with the global supply of instruments and why is everything so delayed? We are going to cover all of the issues that are stalling those 88 keys from arriving in your home as you were hoping and expecting. Right from slowdowns at the manufacturing level to choke points in the shipping. So thank you so much for joining us for today's video. If it's the first time that you are seeing us here on YouTube, we would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe and the notification bell, because we'd love for you to become part of our community and enjoy all kinds of other piano related videos here with us. So without further ado, let's jump right in to the shipping quagmire of 2022 right away. Early 2022, and I honestly thought that by this time we would be back to talking about people's preference in touch and tone and color and brand and size, and we would be past the treachery of 2021 back orders and shipping delays. And yet we still find ourselves in a situation that in some ways is even worse than at any other point in the pandemic when it comes to how long people are waiting to get some of their instruments. And there is a wide variety of reasons for this. They really fall into two categories. One is just the sheer backlog of manufacturing that is occurring at a lot of different manufacturing sites within the piano industry all over the world. And then the second one is what happens when they actually have that piano ready to get to you and it has to hit a shipping company or a series of shipping connections between the factory and finally when it arrives to you wherever you've ordered it in the world. And between those two, we have gone from a situation where, for the most part, if you ordered a regular piano, black polish, the size wasn't too unusual, from any of the major manufacturers, say 2 years ago, there's a good chance that you could have had a piano in your home tuned and enjoying it in 3 to 4 weeks. We are now at a point where 3 to 4 months would be highly prized or sought after, but in the most cases, people are waiting 6 to 12 months at this point. So the backorder situation just continues to be a real laggard on the industry, and shipping is not helping that. I'm going to talk to you about where this backorder stuff is coming from. For people who are out there, maybe you've already ordered a piano and you have Googled like, why are pianos taking so long? Perhaps you found this video and this will be helpful. So for one, there is still quite a few factories that are based in Asia and obviously a few in Europe, but the bulk of instruments, both digital and acoustic, are produced in Asia between Malaysia, Indonesia, Korea, Japan, and China. Those 5 manufacturing sites account for probably 95% of all of the pianos that are actually sold in the world across all of the price points and categories, digital and acoustic. And in a lot of cases, these factories are still dealing with some type of COVID restriction. So that could be that they are having to limit the number of staff that are on the floor at any given time to maintain social distancing. You also have a significant number of staff that may be off at any given time due to quarantining or falling ill, either due to COVID or some other unrelated thing. Of course, our awareness of illness and how to treat illness in workplaces, I would say, is as heightened as it ever has been in the last 100 years. So COVID's not the only thing that's causing people to stay home in a greater frequency than they were prior to the pandemic. So we have factories that are just not operating at 100% capacity. That definitely starts the problem. The second issue is that we have had a major spike in demand for pianos, again, right across all categories. Upright pianos, grand pianos, high-end grand pianos, digital pianos, every single category all around the world has seen increases of anywhere from 10 to 50% since the start of the pandemic. And quite frankly, factories didn't have the capacity to ramp up production to meet that demand. And so as that demand just started building up and back order lists started building up, and stores would point people from one brand to another that had a little bit more supply, well, we're now at the point where all of the extra or the creative solutions are gone, and we're now still just facing that basic math that we have had 40-50% increases in demand, and we have had in some cases decreases in supply in some factories by 20-30% because of that illness and because of the limitations caused by local restrictions in those 5 Asian countries. So we've got big buildup in demand, in some cases a slowdown in supply. That is not helping anything. Third factor, for digital pianos in particular, they use semiconductors. We've heard about this a lot with car manufacturing. It is the exact same situation that is happening on the digital piano side. We have a lot of instruments that have simply stopped production because they cannot access the chips that they need. The semiconductor chip problem is still more than a year out from being solved in any meaningful sense. There was a perfect storm where you had some major damage to one of the largest suppliers of semiconductors in the world. That exacerbated with plant shutdowns for the same reason because of COVID, and then this huge spike in demand. And so that sort of ripples down into industries that rely on that, and digital pianos is definitely one of those. And compared to other industries that are used to muscling their way to supply with bigger appetites than the digital piano world, sometimes they get pushed down the list. So there's 3 reasons why we have pianos just taking that much longer to become available from the factory. So now we come to shipping, which in a lot of cases is just as bad a problem as the back order situation. There are a lot of choke points occurring at ports where ships simply cannot be unloaded. This is happening for the same reasons as the factories were closed down. There are a lot of staff members who are simply not working. Ports are working in some cases with limited capacities and abilities to unload those ships. And then add to that there are even more ships than there normally are trying to unload goods because of increased demand in a wide variety of consumer goods, hard goods, soft goods, electronics, durables, you name it, everything coming across the ocean, and both oceans actually. So we have choke points at the port. We have limited staff at those ports, both loading and unloading of ships. And then add to that we have staffing shortages right across the entire logistics industry. There have been people who have left the trucking business, who have left the moving business, who've decided this is not a line of work that they're interested in pursuing anymore. We've had wage increases that have drawn some of those staffing resources away from that industry. And so it's been kind of a triple whammy on the shipping front as well. Now, what do you do about it? Well, we have come up with several solutions here at the dealership, and I know if you are talking to other dealers out there, they may be able to help with similar type of solutions. So first thing, waiting for the back order situation to solve itself, I don't think is very productive. Why? Because I don't see it solving itself for probably well over a year. If you want an instrument and you're waiting for something to be in stock, it could be 2023 before that actually happens. If you order now, even though you are going to be waiting a significant amount of time, you could have that in 3 to 6 months in a lot of cases. That's a lot better than waiting a year. Never mind that we are dealing with inflationary pressure that's going to push those prices up a year from now. So if you know you want a piano and you're confident in your choice of brand and model, it is still better to be placing those orders with your local dealers now than waiting for the back order situation to be done. But how does that solve the problem of you getting an instrument right now so you can use it for lessons or personal enjoyment? Work with your dealer to come up with a loaner situation. This is a really straightforward, easy solution, and I would stay open to a digital loaner. A lot of dealers are not going to have acoustic loaners that are available for the same reason that your piano isn't available. There's just not a lot of stock, and in some cases the digital product has been easier to get in quantities than the acoustic. So as long as you can get a weighted 88 note digital piano as some type of a loaner situation, I would strongly consider that you take up that option, work with your, your local dealer, retailer to come up with something creative that meets your immediate needs and gets you in line for that other piano down the road. And please be confident that if you're dealing with a reputable dealer, they are not going to be scotch taping damaged pianos together and getting them to you. In bringing up the issue that we're dealing with, there was no intention at all to raise anybody's alarm bells, simply to explain that that's yet another factor that is slowing down the flow of product from manufacturers into your home. One last point that I'll make, I know that there are a lot of customers out there that are frustrated at the lack of information in terms of when their instrument is coming. I can tell you from experience that at the beginning of the pandemic, we had a desire to get as much information to the customer as possible, thinking that transparency was the way in which we could lessen anxiety. Well, as the information that we passed along became less and less reliable, I actually completely changed my mind on that, and we now really hesitate to set very many expectations at all, because the information that the manufacturers are giving to the distributors are often changing. The shipping company's estimates can have absolutely no reliability whatsoever. So if you're a customer and you are experiencing this level of lack of awareness or lack of information in terms of when to expect your instrument, please know that this is not a case where your retailer is not passing along good or bad news for the heck of it. It's not even a situation where the distributor is purposely holding back information. There are so many points in the chain that are now opaque or unknown that it really is truly difficult or almost impossible to set reasonable expectations of when those ETAs are. If you get a 3-month window, I would say that's likely about as accurate as you're going to get from virtually any of the major manufacturers. So hopefully this is not a video that we're going to be making a year from now, but unfortunately we are still dealing with these significant and really unprecedented issues. If you are waiting for an instrument or you are considering an instrument and are aware of these types of issues that are affecting the piano that you're going to be waiting for, we hope that this has been a helpful video, a helpful discussion on some of the things that's causing those delays. If it's the first time that you're checking us out here on the channel, we'd really appreciate if you subscribed. We talk about pianos and everything, as you can see, about pianos, and we bring you videos on a weekly basis. We'd love for you to subscribe, hit that notification bell, become part of our community as well. My name is Stu Harrison. This has been Merriam Pianos on YouTube. We'll see you again soon.